Hello everyone, welcome to the World Science Movement Education Series. In this episode, we will be covering interactive learning and lessons. Here is a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today. First, we're going to start with what we mean by interactive learning and what they are. Then, we will understand the critical elements of interactive lessons and cover the benefits of such an approach. Then, we will discover and discuss how we can apply the interactive learning tools when teaching a lesson. I will give an example of interactive learning tools from our Twin app, then wrap up. So let's get started. What is interactive learning? At its core, interactive learning or an interactive lesson is a hands-on approach to subject material to increase student retention and engagement. Essentially, interactive content requires active engagement from its consumers, using not only media, but also unique learning and assessment features. These features are designed to build skills and strengths, and content knowledge. More than a passive viewer, the student becomes an essential part of the dynamic of the experience. You can think about interactive content in terms of games, simulation, visual graphs, and media animations, and so on. There are many types of interactive content, and we will cover that later on. Firstly, when creating interactive content, there are 3 key elements to consider: proper content alignment, authentic content, feedback, and accessibility. I will unpack the meanings of these for you to clarify what they mean. So for proper content alignment, when creating successful lesson plans, you always want to start with clear learning outcomes. The 3 core elements of an effective lesson plan are objectives, instruction, and assessment. They need to be aligned to ensure that the interactive content that you use is both appropriate and effective in its use. However, interactive lessons and content have been designed explicitly to scaffold learning in classrooms. You can customize how you use interactive content in teaching new topics, again, by outlining learning objectives first, and then using interactive content to connect objectives to both instruction and assignment. You can easily find multiple pathways to using interactive learning tools, both at home and then in the classroom. So if you want to think about introducing the topic with the outcome that they learn about light, you can use multiple avenues, including a video that introduces light in the form of a rainbow. And then for an assessment-style interactive learning tool, you can use pop quizzes through certain apps, or games which require kids to answer questions based on the content and material taught previously. So the second key element is an authentic content. Having authentic content that's relatable with real-life scenarios as a lesson's narrative with appropriate links to outside sources is vital for a child's ability to connect and be invested in the subject material. Think about the experiences and applicable information given to students and a traditional classroom and how that information can be used in real-life situations. By taking information that's found in a textbook and linking it to certain things that are more engaging and more fun for students, such as video games or animations, you'll be able to help them understand the topic better, and authentically will be crucial for their attention and investment in what they're learning. So the third essential element is accessibility and feedback. These mechanisms are vital and create interactive lessons that engage children's interests, and it also allows us to gauge their understanding and interest in the subject material. When creating an interactive lesson, keep in mind the following in terms of accessibility. Number 1, you want to ensure that the lesson employs various media types, such as videos, animations, games, simulations, etc., to communicate the material. That way, it's more accessible to a variety of different types of learners. Number 2, you want to consider the time on task and the components of the lessons to ensure time is used effectively. You may employ chunking, which is the breaking up of the small, distinct units of information, and simulations are perfect ways of doing this. You can both communicate the topic or subject and use your time effectively by interacting with the material and learning from it exponentially. The second form of something that you can use while considering time on task is branching, which uses multiple pathways to agree with material to prevent wasteful time on task. This is similar to chunking, but using different types of media or interactive lessons, like project-based learning, is another form of branching you can use. In this case, the third component of accessibility is a thing called adaptive release, which is the option to apply rules for opening assignments or resources to students in a particular order. For example, a student must complete the lesson to open a discussion forum for that week. This can be an effective way to ensure that the students do not skip important content and ensure active participation and completion. One example you can think of is having a video that conveys the material, and the next step would be a game for them to interact with the material. For them to go to the next step, they would have to complete the video first. In terms of feedback, we want to insert checks for understanding questions throughout the lesson and at the end of the lesson. This can provide valuable data such as clarification for students' commonly missed questions and the lesson's effectiveness. Now we turn to the benefits of interactive learning. Why interactive learning? Interactive learning has many benefits. It engages students in various ways that can integrate both interdisciplinary and applied components. So firstly, the multidisciplinary approach uses multiple activities, perspectives, and approaches to material through the use of tools, such as what we talked about, different types of media, different perspectives, different ways of introducing topics, and through various kinds of fields. If you consider STEM fields, you can approach an engineering topic through a mathematics lens and have an interactive game or simulation that can communicate. Secondly, and its applied approach, interactive lessons leverage technology to support diverse learning. For example, lessons that include an audio recording of the lesson text can help students follow along as the words are highlighted on a screen. This can be particularly helpful for younger students, struggling readers, English learners, or students who learn better through visual aids and can be introduced to immaterial through animations and so on. For example, lessons that include an audio recording of the lesson text can help students to follow along as the words are highlighted on the screen. This can be particularly helpful for younger students, struggling readers, English learners, or students who learn better through visual aids and can be introduced to material through animations and so on. One of the distinguishing features of interactive lessons is the variety of media they use, which can be viewed and revisited throughout the lesson through graphs and so on. On the whole interactive lesson, models offer a more holistic approach to subject material that promotes real-life problem solving and critical thinking, utilizing various learning and assignment tools to support diverse learners encourages students to engage and interact with material and each other, and leverages technology and fully integrates and utilizes media channels. So now that we've covered why we want to have interactive learning and lessons in our classroom, let's talk about how we can apply interactive learning, applying interactive learning and tools to various applications, and for example, introducing new topics. So the use of multimedia such as videos, animations, graphs, simulations, etc., like I've said, can make introducing a new topic easier and more engaging for students. Imagine using a video of a roller coaster to start a conversation about physics or a picture of a rainbow to introduce the topic of light. Another way is pre-assessing or assessing knowledge. They are often implying polling apps like Kahoot or quizzing apps like Quiz. Games or simulations can be a helpful way to gather information and gauge how much a student already knows about a specific topic. These tools may also help you assess how well a student has learned from the lesson and are exciting and more immersive. Interactive learning strives to increase participation rates as well. Having engagement questions and doing group projects, and having games in the classroom can ensure that students are engaged and learn helpful information and skills like collaboration in teamwork. And lastly, it boosts creativity and its application. It can increase creativity and both the students and the teacher, finding new approaches by using simulations and presentations and so on, as well as hands-on activities like digital and physical experiments, can create or boost creativity and the pathways that a teacher teaches specific topics and how students learn new topics. Keeping these in mind, let's turn and focus on what we do at Twin and how you can incorporate some of our practices in our classroom. So Twin's approach to interactive learning, keeping the key elements, benefits, and applications of interactive learning in mind. With its physical and digital products, Twin has come up with a number of its components to create its lessons, focusing on civic engagement, social emotional learning, and cultural learning, encouraging DIY projects and experiments, highlight and problem solving, and employing various forms of multimedia. We create meaningful, interactive learning experiences that ensure students and children enjoy and understand what's being taught. The key pillars are that students can connect what they're learning, interact with the material, are invested in the subject, and reflect on what they've learned while developing a growth mindset to use their knowledge to better society. If we look more closely at this slide, you'll see that on one end, our physical products with Twin Science kits teach children to STEM fields in a hands-on approach. We understand that the power of play can help kids learn various topics in an interdisciplinary way, and our toys encourage them to learn by doing. Adopt a civic-minded approach based on what content we give, and we encourage kids to use other tools to deepen their understanding. For one example, we have a hybrid model where we use our physical and digital products to integrate them to increase interactive learning. One such tool is our Twin app, which teaches through immersive learning adventures that employ various forms of media use and is driven by the power of storytelling, DIY projects, games, and trivia to increase the students' understanding and enjoyment of the subject material. If we take a look closer at the Twin app as an example, I can show you what tools we use to ensure that we can achieve practical learning lessons. So here are some examples of interactive learning tools in the Twin app. In this adventure titled Where Did the Colours Go?, we employ the following interactive learning content to cover the topic. We have various learning objectives, but we found many ways to convey the subject material and engaging avenues by using interactive videos and questions, animations, digital challenges, simulations, educational games, interactive games, and group activities. So kids, for example, could learn what the stoop effect is and how it's connected to what we are teaching overall, and a game called Snap Tap, where they will tap on a word that is the cut like the word is the colour red. Still, it is the colour blue, and they will see how there's a gap between their decision-making skills, and we've integrated that in our subject material and make it fun through the game. It is tough to convey things like the Stroop effect if you're just explaining it like a textbook. However, we found a fun and interactive way of making it a game. So continuing without getting too much into details about this adventure, I encourage you to look at the Twin app to see how these various forms of media and projects are used to teach one topic but molten through multiple avenues and are driven through storytelling. So wrapping up, I want to revisit why interactive learning is so essential in a student's education. We want kids to be curious and engaged and lifelong learners. Interactive learning is a necessary and exciting part of teaching and helping kids achieve just that. They can find and discover many pathways towards more profound understanding and connections with interactive lessons. We here at Twin believe interactive learning can inspire the students of today to be the changemakers of tomorrow. And I'll leave you with this. With interactive and visual content, students can follow what's being taught and make connections, which helps deeper learning. By saying goodbye, I'd also like to leave you with some valuable interactive lesson resources so you can see how you can apply these tools in your classroom. I think you'll be amazed when you see the impacts of your efforts in the classroom, and you'll be excited at how creative you can be while enriching your lesson plans with this approach and with the tools we covered today. I wish you fun and create a new and fun learning environment for your students, and thank you very much for your time. I hope this was both a clarifying and a helpful session. We look forward to seeing you in the next World Science Movement Education series. Thank you again.